Hello, I'm Mike Vitka from Dr. Vitka's Myths, Legends, and Lore. And today, I'm going to tell you some crazy stories about the Salem Witch House. As a Salem tour guide, I overhear people say the strangest things, and they ask me some of the most puzzling questions. And one of the places people really have an interest in and say the most bizarre things about is the Salem Witch House right here. This is where Judge Jonathan Corwin lived, one of the infamous judges from the Salem witch trials. However, despite the name the Witch House, no witches ever actually lived inside this building. One of the #1 misconceptions about this place is that this is where the accused witches were held and tortured during the witch trials. That is absolutely false. Nobody was ever tortured in the witch house. There is no evidence that anybody was taken from the dungeon and interrogated here at the witch house. The story started to really spread that the witch house is where the tortures happened around the time it was renovated. You see, the witch house originally had been a little bit closer to the street, and in the 1940s it was relocated, moved back from the street to make the area safer and to renovate the house. Nobody was tortured in the witch house, but those stories started spreading around the time that the witch dungeon location had been also developed. On that location, they discovered iron shackles and a bill of rent for somebody who was incarcerated in the dungeon. And I think some of that story may have spread up the street a little bit to the witch house location. Now, an absolutely bizarre rumor that I've overheard is that when the witch house was moved back about 40 feet from the street, they discovered a mass grave of accused witches hidden beneath the site the witch house had been on. Not true. Another question people always ask is the witch house haunted? That's kind of a loaded question. It all depends on what you mean by haunted. This house is one of the oldest homes in Salem. Corwin family legacy says it was built around 1640, although some historians place it as early as being built in 1620. And any building that's been around that long is bound to have had a lot of people live and die in it. And any place that old has definitely had a lot of stories grow because of the people who've lived and died in here. Personally, I have been up here in an area that is not accessible to the public, and I will admit to having felt a very strange, creeping feeling as if somebody was following right behind me up the stairs. Was it actually a ghost? I don't know, but I can say I definitely did feel something. It was eerie. So, is it haunted? I think that really all depends on what you mean by haunted and whether or not you believe in ghosts. I can say, though, that in 2011, the Ghost Adventures TV show filmed in here, and their conclusion was it is absolutely haunted. According to the Ghost Bros, this place is loaded with ghosts, so take that for what it's worth. The silliest, dumbest, most head-scratching question I get about this place is this where Cotton Mather had his brothel? The answer is absolutely not. As far as we know, there was never an organized brothel in Salem during the witch trials time period. There's no evidence that Cotton Mather was seeing sex workers, and even if he was, it was absolutely not something that was happening here at the witch house. So did Cotton Mather have his brothel here? No. I think the reason people even propose that ridiculous idea comes from the Salem TV show. Great show, fun fiction, totally made up. This is absolutely insane. I actually heard somebody saying that this signpost, these big old beams, is where they hanged a horse during the Salem witch trials. No horses were hanged during the witch trials. Absolutely not. No horses were hanged during the witch trials. There is folklore that there was a horse involved. There is folklore that an absolutely wild test was performed. The idea was that if you lit a candle behind a bewitched horse, the horse would lead you to the person who had bewitched it. Well, the story goes is that a candle was lit behind the horse. The horse passed gas and blew out the candle. That meant the horse was protecting the witch. They tried the test again, lit the candle, the horse blew it out again. And that meant that the horse was a witch. So they strung the horse up from right here. That did not happen. First of all, there's no proof that that test was ever even performed. That's just in the realm of folklore. And even if it was performed, there's no evidence that the horse in question was hanged. And even if it had been hanged, it wouldn't have been hanged by these posts, because these posts were not here during the Salem witch trials. So I can unequivocally say that there was no horse hanged here at the witch house sign. Just throw that one in the trash. So I told you some of the myths, misconceptions, and lies about the witch house. But the truth is even more fascinating. People ask, how many witches lived here? Did any witches live here? And the answer is no. No witches lived in the witch house. No witchcraft was done here. Or was it? When you visit the witch house, make sure you ask the folks working inside to show you the anti-witchcraft sigils carved into the walls. There are symbols, little daisy wheels, that recently have been proved as anti-witchcraft symbols. Somebody who lived here at one point carved these signs into the wall to protect themselves against witchcraft. They were using what was called counter magic to protect against nefarious witchcraft. So depending on your interpretation of what witchcraft means, maybe there was a little bit of witchcraft happening here at the witch house. Thank you very much for watching Dr. Vitka's Myths, Legends, and Lore. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Watch the rest of our videos. We're going to be coming to you with even more strange New England history. You better keep watching if you want to learn the rest of the story.